Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today, folks, I got another great holster by the company that goes by the name of Craft. Now, obviously, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know I've reviewed, probably at least 8 to 10 different Craft holsters, but for many different model firearms. And I gotta tell you, they are my go-to company. Now, of course, you might be saying, oh, well, Fat Cat, you get those for free. And that is true. I do. So, of course, it's easier to make that statement. But what I want you guys to know is that I also have many holsters that I purchased through Amazon and different companies, Kydex, other leather branded or other leather type holsters. And I can tell you, after experiencing the different types of holsters on the market, even nylon, leather's kind of my go-to. And I think there are kind of different reasons on why you might opt for different types of holsters. That's why I always think that really, if you are a guy who is an everyday carry dude, and I don't mean, I mean a guy who's consistently carrying his firearm, not like once in a while. I mean everywhere you go, you have it on you. Finding the right holster is kind of, I don't want to say imperative, because the odds of the average person actually needing to use their firearm, it is slim, right? But again, that depends on what you do and where you live, and plenty of factors. But I do think, though, again, there are different kind of holsters for different occasions, different reasons, different places you're going. So it's really nice to have a variety. Now, of course, I have, after all these holsters, and I'm going to review many more from Craft, I have have my favorites, right? And I'll tell you, I gravitate more towards outside the waistband holsters, right? And again, that depends on what firearm I'm carrying. So today, this is kind of exciting. I did get a new firearm, and so I want to share with you guys and I'm going to, for safety purposes, for YouTube and all that stuff. I know a lot of times when we see guys, clearing the weapon and doing all this kind of stuff, we're like, gosh, I mean, you shouldn't even be handling a firearm if you're not constantly being safe about it, right? So in this case, this gun is empty, but for YouTube purposes, I'm going to do it anyway. So it's going to pull the empty magazine out and just kind of make sure we're totally clear, just for purposes of the video. So here it is. So this is a CZ75 clone, and this is made by SAR, and this is the SAR 2000. Now, there's many different variations of this gun, even by SAR. You can get it in, obviously you got your different color variations, whether it be stainless or like a black metal. But what I love about this gun is that it's all steel, and I'll tell you, the plastics and the different types of materials they're using in firearms is great. Don't get me wrong. I have many guns that are made of the polymer and all that stuff, but there's just nothing quite like an all steel frame, steel slot. Well, of course they're all steel slide, but a steel framed firearm. So again, this video isn't about the gun, but I'll tell you, this is my new favorite. Absolutely love this gun. Very 1911-ish. If you haven't checked out the CZ75s or even the SAR, definitely check them out. I will put a link in the description where you can pick this up. I got mine on Gun Broker. So pretty awesome. So with that being said, SAR is a Turkish company, and they're, a lot of times when you're going to look for holsters, you won't necessarily find many options under the SAR name, right? If you're looking specifically for SAR 2000, you may not find a lot of holsters. I believe that if you were to go to Craft Leather Holsters, again, link is in the description, check it out, read about it yourself, double check. When you do a model search, you're not going to find this particular SAR. I don't think SAR is even listed on there. Now, as time goes on, they'll probably add more, but the cool thing about buying a clone is that this is modeled after the CZ75. So basically, this will fit, I'd say 90%, if not more, of the CZ75 holsters. So in this case, the one I'm going to share with you guys today is, of course, the CZ75 holster. When you do order this, if you have a SAR or a clone, what I recommend you do is, because there's always little subtle differences, I would always recommend when you order a holster that maybe isn't specifically for your gun, look at side-by-side pictures. If they have a CZ75, which they do, when you go to their website and look at the different options, try to find that exact gun. I know this is common sense, but make sure you're ordering something that's, comparable to the way that your gun is. There might be a CZ75 clone out there that has a completely different trigger guard, and that might cause a problem when going to put it in a standard CZ75 holster, right? So, all right, so this is it here. So what I did, I wanted to try something a little bit different, so I ordered a left-handed holster without any kind of cant. This one does not have a cant on it. This is just a straight up and down holster. And I ordered this because I wanted to see what it would be like to carry a left-handed holster slid around my back facing out to the right. And so, you know, again, you have to decide what's going to work best for you. I'll tell you though, when it comes to leather and like a quick draw situation, you really want to make sure that holster is broken in really well. Craft has plenty of videos about breaking them in. I'm not going to go into all that, but there is some issues when you go to pull out your firearm, depending on how you're carrying it, of course. And remember, it's all personal preference. Again, most people, if you are the type of person who's going to carry a gun, maybe camping, you just want to have it on you. You're not really going to be in a combat situation. You know what I mean? You're not a law enforcement officer, you know, dealing with danger every single day where, you know, seconds count, right? Again, I know the diehard's going to come out and be like, wait, Fat Cat, seconds count. I understand that. There's always different situations. You have to decide what you want to risk. You know, if you have to have the fastest draw holster out there because you're, you know, that kind of guy, then by all means, you know, buy the holster that's going to work best for you. For my purposes, I'm not too worried about that. I just like the peace of mind knowing I have something on me at all times, right? So, I will state though, this probably isn't one that I'm going to be carrying often, but it's a great kind of experience to share the holster with you guys and, you know, give you guys some ideas. So, first off, again, let's go ahead and see how it fits. Slide this right in here. Now, I'll tell you, this holster right from the manufacturer is super tight compared to some of the other holsters I've received from Craft. It is kind of hit or miss on how tight a holster is. The other holster I'm wearing right now, which I'm going to share next week in a different video, it's my favorite model by Craft, fits perfectly. Not tight, not loose, it's just perfect. With this, and I've had this happen on a couple Craft holsters, when you go to push the firearm in, you're actually starting to push the frame in, but the slide is staying kind of stationary. So you're starting to actually rack the gun. Once you do get this in here, it snaps fine, no issues, perfect fit, right? And this is why I state when you get one of these holsters, go through the break-in process, you know, and loosen it up. And generally what they do is you can get some, I believe they include them with every firearm or every firearm holster. It's like a conditioning spray. It's a break-in spray. And that kind of, I believe, loosens up the leather a little. And then what you want to do is put your gun in a plastic bag, insert it into the holster, and let it sit overnight. And what that does, that extra plastic just stretches the holster a little bit. That's it. And so, you know, again, play with it. You know, I haven't done that to this yet, and the reason for that is because if you go to put this on your belt, which I will in a second, it's really tight to pull out. And so what you're going to do is actually start to pull up your pants, right? And so in a situation where you really need to access your firearm, this might not be something everybody's going to feel comfortable with. But again, if you stretch this out, if you break the holster in properly, you won't have any kind of issues. So let me just go ahead and show you guys how this fits on the belt and kind of my idea, a little bit different. Oh, hang on, baby, what's going on? This is the other holster I'm going to be sharing with you guys next week. And this is kind of why belt holsters with the belt loops are kind of a pain, because you'll notice with this holster, it has the snaps, and this is, again, just a little tease here. This is my favorite Craft holster with the snaps, because you can remove the holster without taking your whole belt off. So, especially if you're a left-handed draw, right? So in my case, let me just go ahead and do this for you guys. And in my case with this holster, what I wanted to do was, like I said, wear this on the right side. And what I find with some of the holsters that are leather as opposed to Kydex, depending on how they slide onto your belt, you can see this is really tight here. I'm going to use the larger opening here just for the purpose of this video so I can not spend too much time doing this. You know, leather is going to stretch and break in, and you can see it's real tight. But once you get it on, you're good to go. Now, here's what my rationale was with this gun. Depending on your body and if you have any kind of, you know, shoulder issues or whatnot, as we get older, things don't work as good as they used to, right? So with me, for some reason, this shoulder is a little bit harder for me to reach back. So what I thought might work better for me was having a holster that actually was a left-handed draw, but just worn on the right. And so what I'm going to do, and you can see just even getting it on is a little bit of a struggle, right? But again, I'm wearing it like it's you know, this is not how you're supposed to wear it. So my idea was if I wanted to wear this into the back like this, and this is the other problem too, and this is where body type comes into play, because obviously like my upper body is bigger than my lower body, and that's, I mean, the case with most dudes, but for me I think it's a little more pronounced because I don't really have much of a behind. I mean, you know, all joking aside, I'm buttless. I mean, there's two little cantaloupes back there, right? And so everything that every pair of jeans I wear, I have to really cinch up the belt. I don't really have any hips at all, no butt. So my pants just are constantly sagging down. I'm the perfect candidate for suspenders, really. But when you start adding the weight of a gun back here, it really starts to pull the pants down. I do cinch up pretty tight in the belt, and my idea was, because sometimes when I'm wearing a standard right-hand draw outside the waistband or into the waistband holster, I have to reach back so far. If I'm not wearing it more towards the front, I really have to reach far, and I have a hard time reaching back that far. For some reason on the left, I definitely have more mobility. The right, it's a little tight back there. So I thought maybe having something that was worn more like this might be easier to access. I'm not actually rotating my shoulder as far. And that is true. It does work. The only downside is, you know, when you're jumping in and out of your car, you're sitting down at home at the desk, you know, it just kind of digs back there. It's poking, it's stretching the belt, you're pulling the leather more, and it's just kind of in the way. However, if I was going to be doing something where I'm not going to be sitting a lot, this would work for me. And you can see just by reaching back, it is a little bit tricky to pop the thumb brake, because you're kind of popping it more towards your body in an awkward position. And then when you pull the gun out, I'm pulling straight up as opposed to pulling up and back like this. So in my case, this is definitely easier to pull the gun out. Again, you know, hopefully you never have to access your gun. I've seen, you know, a lot of guys sometimes. A perfect example where I got this idea was I saw a gentleman in the show. Again, this is just a TV show, you know. I mean, we can't take that too seriously. But there was a, if you ever watched True Detective, the first season, when Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are talking to one of the old sheriffs they used to work with back in the day. I forget his name, but they're out playing golf on the golf course, and he's actually got a 1911 on his back, right in the center of the back. Obviously, you know, it's one of those things where in this situation, this is kind of an example. You're out playing golf. The odds are so against anything happening. You know, the odds of anything happening on a golf course, right, probably slim to none. Like most things in life, right? You're out there enjoying yourself, you know what I'm saying? But still, the peace of mind of having it with you is kind of what I'm trying to articulate. And so in that case, you know, it's not going to be the fastest draw having it back there. And his was a right-handed version. So you can imagine, you know, this, you would be grabbing it really with your left hand. You wouldn't be able to reach that far back. So that was the idea in wearing a left-handed holster on the center of your back. Kind of like in the movies. And again, guys, I don't want you guys to watch this video and state those are the movies. And, you know, I know they do things in movies that is just not realistic, not practical, not safe. I understand that. But I'm just giving you guys some ideas of what might work for you. Just because that this may not be the best way of carrying a firearm for defense purposes, right? Military purposes, law enforcement purposes, whatever the case may be, it's still a way to carry a firearm, you know. I hope that makes sense. So again, putting it back in the holster, you really have to reach back there, and it is really awkward, and it might be easier to just look in a mirror to do that, to get the firearm back in there. But you know, overall, I think it's an option for somebody to carry their gun in the back like this. And again, what I was getting to, I was alluding to with the movie remark, was a lot of times in movies, you'll see guys just, you know, put it in their waistline, they just put it in their back, in a very similar fashion, just tucking it right in the back. We've seen that in thousands of movies. You know, when a guy's just got a firearm, he's just tucking in his waistline. Generally, if he's right-handed, he's doing it like this on the front, and in the back, he's doing it like this. So I wanted something that was going to mimic that. And so I think that this holster is definitely something I will use, I will wear. As far as being, you know, the perfect holster, the most comfortable, I'd say no. And this is where You know, leather has a certain comfort level. When you wear Kydex, it just digs into your body everywhere. And for me personally, the type of clothes I wear, they're pretty fitted. Wearing stuff inside my waistband is just not an option. It's just too uncomfortable, and I'm stretching the pants so far. You know, with a belt, it's just very uncomfortable, especially when you go to sit down, you know, just digging into your stomach. And, you know, I'm not ripped by any means. So, you know, there's some belly fat there. So naturally when I sit, you know, it really digs into this area. I guess if maybe you were super lean, super skinny, you wear your pants kind of baggier, that might be more comfortable. I can't imagine anybody really wearing a gun right in the front of their body, sitting down and having that be comfortable. I know my best friend, he actually carries a 1911 for his daily. And he just has one of those kind of like friction, like neoprene kind of slides. And it works great for him, but he actually is really skinny, wears suspenders, pretty baggy pants, you know, for his, I shouldn't say pretty baggy pants, but definitely looser waistband pants than I wear. And so he's got the room in there to tuck it. It works for him. For me, I've never found it comfortable. But my point is like when we're getting in the truck or we're driving, generally that firearm comes out and goes in the center console until we get to where we're going, then he puts it on himself. So I think that's just kind of something you got to think about when you're carrying a firearm. The other downside too is whenever you carry a firearm, especially something like this, with a full metal frame, this can be said even for the polymers, is that I've said in other videos, if you don't care about your interior of your car, then knock yourself out. But for me personally, I spent 20 years taking care of my cars, making sure I didn't damage the leather, really babying these things. And when I get into my car, and I still do it now, even with the gun, it kind of digs into the seat. And eventually, you're going to wear a hole in the seat. So it's nice to, I'm trying to get into the habit of when I get into the car, take the firearm out of the holster and put it in, there's other options for if you want to get like a dash holster. You can have a second holster, you put it in, maybe a sleeve or something, put in your center console. But again, there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of things to think about. Back before I actually started, carrying concealed or something, a lot of times I carry just open carry, honestly. Before that, I just figured, get a holster that you really like the way it looks. Because ultimately it doesn't really matter. But once I started to actually wear a firearm, and just so you guys know, sometimes I'll wear the CZ75, sometimes I'll wear a Beretta, Beretta 92 clone by Gerson. Other times I'll wear my Canic. Other times I'll wear my Taurus G2C, sometimes my Taurus Spectrum. It just really depends on what I'm doing, right? If I want, a gun to be really more concealed, this is probably not what I'm going to wear, especially with my type of clothing. Now, if I'm wearing a jacket, I know I'm not going to take that jacket off, depending on the type of jacket. It depends on how you can conceal these. So it's just another option for you folks. Craft makes something really for everyone. So what I encourage you guys to do is click the link in the description, read about their holsters, check them out. And one thing I really like about Craft as a company, not only am I in collaboration with them, right? That's great. But one thing I really like is this ability to be able to really learn about the different holsters and really try different models. Perfect example is one of their cross-draw holsters I got for my Taurus G2C. It's worn right in the front here, and I figured based on that angle that might be a more comfortable holster. They say those are holsters for guys who get in and out of their car a lot, but I found it to just be a little uncomfortable still because it's right in the front, digging into your leg. Your mobility is really limited when you got something stuck on the front of your hip. So realistically, my point is, for me, it's the best way to carry is whether it's open or concealed, it really depends on what I'm wearing, but it's really outside the waistband and right on the back of this butt cheek, kind of off to the side of the hip, not too far off to the side. If I am going to be walking and I'm more upright, then I can move it to the side if I want it to be more accessible. But really, I just want you guys to take from this video that I'm not one of these guys who is so like over the top. I enjoy firearms. I enjoy collecting. It's another thing that I collect with watches and cologne. I enjoy shooting when I get a chance. I enjoy the peace of mind of knowing in today's crazy world that I have something. I hope, I'm not a guy who's going to pray, but I hope that there's never going to be a situation that, that it warrants a firearm. And in all honesty, a firearm does complicate a situation. It's a huge responsibility, and it's really something to think about. When I hear people talk about, oh, this is what I would do, it's like, shut the fuck up. You don't know how you're going to react in any given situation. You don't know until it happens. You don't know until it's over how you reacted. And I've had situations in my life where, you know, I've been into a lot of fights in my life, and you know, and I've had situations where I've, you know, afterwards been, you know, jacked up and feeling great, and other times where I felt really like emotional about it. So it really just depends on the situation. Adrenaline's a crazy thing. Fear, you know, that fight or flight, they invoke a lot of emotions that you don't expect. And I think that with anything, it's peace of mind having something like this. It's a huge responsibility having something like this. Sorry, I just didn't mean to turn into a preaching at you guys. But what my point is that it's also a huge responsibility in finding the holster that's going to work best for you. And I think that, you know, like I said, the opportunity to work with Craft is fantastic. But I'm digressing a lot here, and I do apologize. But what I wanted to say was Craft is not only a great company that makes a great product, and it's cool we're collaborating, all that stuff, but their website's really good. It's simple, it's basic, it's very easy to find what you're looking for. The descriptions match the actual holster. I know that sounds like common sense, but I can't tell you the number of companies I work with where things don't line up, right? They're missing information. Craft also has their own videos, and their videos are great. You know, I forget the gentleman's name, so he's the same guy with the braided beard. His name's on the tip of my tongue, but my point is just go to their website, link is in the description, it's probably popping up in this video. Check out the models, watch their own videos. They're great at explaining these products in more of a kind of a feature action benefit sort of method, as opposed to me just giving you guys kind of a show and tell and kind of my own personal review. But with that being said, let me get a little closer here, and we'll talk about the important stuff now. That if you haven't gone to the website already, you know, what you get with this holster. So let me just pop it off real quick so we can show it to you guys again, and we'll just talk about. And see, this is my point when it comes to holsters like this. You know, sliding them off. I guess it's, you know, it is personal preference. Some guys may not want to remove their gun when they get home, or you know, or what they're doing. I know if I'm going to. I don't want to give you guys TMI, but if I'm going to use a restroom sometimes, you know, I don't want it to bang into the toilet. So a lot of times I'll kind of pop it off and put it on, you know, the toilet paper thing or on the sink or whatnot, depending on where I'm at. But with this, something like this, you can't do that. So what do I think about the quality? So reminds me of a kid going into this Western wear place, and I love the smell of leather. So super, super high quality leather. I would consider this almost like duty type of construction. I'm not going to get involved in the process, talking about the process and how they're molded and all that stuff. I believe it's a wet mold, but don't quote me on that. Of course, really solid snaps. You know, the way that the snap is actually fused inside the leather, I mean, it's not going to come out. Like, this is super high quality, great construction, all double stitched. I mean, very, very well made. I know they don't market this as like duty stuff, but I don't see any reason why this couldn't be duty stuff. This is super high quality stuff. What else? The only thing I with holsters like this, just to kind of keep it in mind, as this wears, and depending on your belt, that's why duty belts are a lot thicker, right? Standard belts are going to wear, leather stretches, leather, you know, breaks down, and this will start to flop a little bit. So kind of think about that when you choose a holster. Now, if you're going to wear this properly as a right-handed holster, if you're a right-handed guy, of course, this is going to be great for you. There is no cant on this, so just kind of keep that in mind. It is pretty much a vertical, up and down, straight up and down holster. Some holsters are canted, but keep in mind, the reason I chose this holster worn like this is because if you had a left-handed cant holster, it would generally be like this, right? Kind of canted forward. When you slide that around to the opposite side, it's going to be canted in a totally opposite direction. It'd be one thing if you can get a left-handed holster that's canted back and you can slide it, and that would be even easier to access, but that's just not the case. I don't think anybody makes anything like that. If you wanted to do that with Kydex, or if you had a leather holster that had the ability to adjust the angle forward or back, like some of your paddle holsters, you could do that. Just depends on your personal preference. But again, super high quality, really well made, and this may not be the holster for you, but it's just another indication of the fantastic quality. And of course, you can see monogramming, $9 extra. As far as the different, again, it's made in right hand or left hand. You can get it in brown or black. As far as the colors, the brown looks like it's got the white stitching, which is what I love when they do that. They don't do that on all their guns. Get a matching belt. You're going to look great carrying your piece. Other than that, this states 2 carrying positions. I'm not sure what they mean by 2 carrying positions on this, because when I look at the belt loops, you know, depending on which loop you choose, it might give you a slight cant, but I don't see the 2 carrying positions or what they mean by that. It just says here, the slick outside the waistband holster is an opening between the grip and the trigger guard area. Features, which secures super quick and drawing and reholstering. So I think what they mean is right here how that's split when you put the firearm in. Being that that's open, it helps to, I guess, maybe make it quicker. This is not quick at this moment because this needs to be broken in. You can see when I push this in, you know, the slide pulls back. So we don't want that. So this is definitely what I'm going to break in. Keep in mind, too, you know, if you're, I don't know how other finishes hold up compared to stainless. I do have a 1911 that's just parkerized, and leather is a little abrasive. So if it's not broken in, if you're, you know, worried about scratching your gun a little bit, just kind of break that leather in first. What I would really like to see is maybe Craft start to do something maybe with, I don't know, maybe just a kind of a felt lining, something stitched in that was softer. Leather is a little rough, right? But again, that's a personal preference. It may not matter to you at all. You do get premium 5-year warranty, double durable stitching, and you know, Italian-made leather. That's about it. It's really pretty self-explanatory. Quality's amazing. This is like probably my 11th holster by Craft. Fantastic company. And what's great about them too, if you have a question and you don't want to ask your boy Fat Cat and you want to go ahead and ask Craft direct, they will get back to you. I can't tell you the number of companies that that I collaborate with that take days to get back to me. Craft is amazing. Their service is amazing. And if you have a problem with their holsters, they're going to stand by their product. And I've had situations with Craft on one particular holster, I've talked about it before, where they made it incorrectly like 3 times. Just the cant on the gun was wrong. And this is how companies learn and get better. So if you have a problem, you're going to get the same service. You're going to get the same, you know, care for the customer. So keep that in mind. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, this video went a lot longer than I thought it would, but a lot to say. So stay tuned for next week. Through the month of October, I'll be releasing 4 Craft holsters. Definitely check them out. We're going to have the other holster next week for my favorite Craft holster. This, for me personally, is the one I everyday carry. I love it. I have it for multiple firearms. This is my go-to. So stay tuned for that next week, next Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday. I think this is released on Wednesday. I got to look at my calendar. I got you guys here. Let's see here. Yeah, Wednesday. So we're going to have a Craft review on the 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. And then after that, you'll see more. But this is our plan for the month. So, again, let me know if I can help you guys out in any way. I'm always here to help. As always, thank you, Craft, for the generosity. You guys keep doing what you're doing, and people are going to be happy. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day, and take care.